So each time I publish a video regarding the Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmet, regardless from which manufacturer it comes, there's always a lively discussion in the comments about size. Either it's too big or it's too small, or I get asked quite a bit, Paul, does it fit your head? Well, today we're going to take a quick but comprehensive look and comparison at each of the brands of Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmets I have, so you can see the difference in sizes, and I'll go through and try each of them on as well to show you if they fit my head or not, because if they fit my size 8 gargantua melon, they're probably going to fit yours. But let's get into this. So let's get started. And to begin with, I'm going to take a quick look at the most widely available Phase 2 clone helmet out there. This is the Hasbro version. And this one reminds me, based on its size and build, of the ones that the live action clones were wearing in Andor, the series, in this scene right here. It definitely will go on your head. It seems a lot bigger, however, than a lot of the other clone helmets. And when they do iterations of this, they're just repainting this one and on this video as well, everybody seems to comment, wow, that thing looks super huge. It looks too big. And in some cases, I think people have an excellent point. And I do believe that as far as the clone helmets are concerned, since it fits on a normal person's head or a real person's head, as opposed to what we got in CGI, it tends to be a little big. And speaking of CGI clones, let's compare the Black Series helmet to this custom cast or 3D print. No, this is a cast, excuse me. This is one of my oldest helmets in my collection. And this comes from a company that unfortunately is no longer in business, and they're called the Replica Prop Shop. And as you can see right off the bat, it's a slightly different color, but this one is more reminiscent of the actual CGI clones. The face part right here is much thinner than it is on the Black Series helmet, and the entire helmet is much smaller. And this one doesn't quite go on my head. I can get it about halfway down onto my face, and I think it'll keep going, but I'm worried that if I do, it's not going to come back off. That's how small it is. So when you're doing a comparison of what you're looking for, this is probably best for display, and this is the one I display because it most accurately represents the CGI clones that we got. But if you're gonna wear one or have a good time run around the house playing pew pew with the kids, this is the one you're gonna want because it's bigger and it fits your head. And I'll show you a quick side view as well. I think there is where it's really relevant and really obvious how much smaller this one is than this one. But this one has the really cool weathering and some of the rust effects on it. So like I said, for as far as displays go, this is the one to go with if you ask me. So these are kind of the extremes. Probably the largest Phase 2 clone helmet out there from Black Series, and then the smallest. But it doesn't always have to be extremes. Let's take a look at some of the ones in the middle. So this is the Black Series when compared to the Disney Store Phase 2 clone helmet. They've released 3 or 4 of these different models. This is the 212th Attack Battalion. I think they've done a Commander Gree, and they also did the Mace Windu Battalion. And as you can see, this one is much smaller as well. The face is a little wider than on the custom, but it's much, much smaller, much more faithful to what we got on screen. Now, does this fit my head? Well, the answer is yes, but let me show you why. To get that more screen accurate look while still allowing the helmet to fit your head, because as you can see, it's much smaller than the Black Series helmet, the Disney Store helmet unfortunately makes a huge compromise, and you can see it right down in here, and that is that the helmet actually squeezes into 2 pieces. It comes apart so that if you have a larger head, you can actually get that on. So, as far as display is concerned, I still have these displayed. I like them, but if you take a really hard look at it, you're going to see that it's got this big, huge crease down the side, and it's not really screen accurate. Now, the weathering on this is nice, and as you can see, the Black Series one doesn't have any weathering, and this one has some nice sand and other types of weathering on it. But once again, it's a huge compromise for it to look quote unquote closer to screen accuracy as far as the CGI clones and the size is concerned. They really make a huge sacrifice there with that big crack that's on both sides, so the back of the helmet will pull out. And then finally, if you want to go high end and you have a little bit of extra money to spend, this is the Denuo Novo 501st Legion Phase 2 clone helmet. as it stands next to the Black Series. Once again, a little bit smaller. The Black Series one is just gargantuan compared to the rest of them. They really made sure it would fit everybody. This one does fit my head. Like I said, size 8 head, goes on comfortably. As a matter of fact, if I was going to wear it for long periods of time, I would probably add some padding in the front because there's a little bit of room there and it will rest on my face so I could push it out so it would be more comfortable. But as you can see, this one reminds me more of what they were wearing in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series, and my buddy Adisher actually was one of the 501st Troopers in that series, which was very cool. He's also played a number of other roles. And for a really close-up look, Adam Savage and Tested did a complete video on the whole suit of armor, and when you talk about comparisons for screen use, I think this one matches those the best. The Adam Savage Tested model that we saw and what we saw in the Obi-Wan series with the Order 66 flashbacks. But as you can see, they're pretty comparable as far as size, but this one is like I said, it actually is considerably smaller. It's got just a little bit of weathering. But the unfortunate thing about the Denuo Novo version is it's a good quality, sturdy helmet made out of fiberglass, and consequently these run anywhere between $400 and $700 depending on when you get them. And then from the side, you can see there's not a whole lot of difference. This is actually made for a human to wear, but they tried to ride that line of screen accuracy as opposed to the old CGI clones, which were basically physically impossible. No one could be that small unless these were tiny little humans in real life and wear those helmets. But there you have it. There's just an overview of 4 of the most commonly available clone trooper helmets. And when I say that, there's obviously the Hasbro one, which is very easy to get. Then there's the Denuo Novo 501st one, which I don't think they have it in stock right now, but maybe they'll bring it back. And then way on the end, where you can't quite see it over here, is the Disney version. And there's a bunch of those that have come out, and I think some of them are still available. And then I used this one that came from an Etsy replica prop shop type situation to demonstrate that if you want, you can go onto Etsy and you can find one that looks, as far as the dimensions are concerned, very much closer to the CGI clones. So I hope that helped. Like I said, Black Series fits, Denuo Novo fits. This one's real tight. I don't think it fits, and the Disney ones fit, but then they come apart at the back. So hopefully that helped and was interesting. And if you have any questions about any of my Phase 2 Clone Trooper helmets or any of my helmets in general, put those down below. But I appreciate you joining me, and if you're not a subscriber to the channel, maybe consider doing that for me. That's a great way to support my efforts here at Paul's Collectibles. And if you're already a subscriber or someone who's been watching my videos for a really long time, you already know I greatly appreciate you. And with that, I'll see you on the next video.